Good morning. It is early in the morning, technically, and so I can't wait to get back to bed. This is my 1305 Semogue. Has the same bristles as an 830. Nice and soft, but it's young. So we'll see. This is maybe my third time using it. And you've got crazy hair this morning, guys. Here is my Nacet that I've been using. Here's the top side, and so it is very fresh looking. But here's the one that I'm using on the bottom side each time, and you can see how it is old. I just got in this awesome, what I believe is a 1904 old type. I'm sorry, single ring, yeah. And can't wait to try it out now. Up until now, the Sheraton has been my razor of choice with this age of blade. It just works really well. But this is an aggressive, somewhat aggressive razor that has really good geometry in other situations. So let's see if it'll handle this. See if it'll handle this Nacet. Got a pretty small arc. Let's see how it'll do. Check the exposure on both sides. Looks good enough. Now today for this soap we have, it's 111. We've got 50 dots on this side and 110 and 60 dots on that side. So that means today is 111. Mystic Water is a brand of soap that doesn't get a lot of acclaim, and it's kind of unjustly so. This is the Barbershop version, and this is the sample that they give out, a ½ ounce sample. And you can put this in the bottom of a jar and then use that as a jar until you use the sample up. It's their Barbershop. It's got a nice scent to it. But I'm not going to use it until I use it up. I'm just going to use it once or twice. So I'm going to spoon out about 1/4 teaspoon off of the little thing. And press it down in there just to see. Yep, that's about what I got. And that is usually a good amount to use. So 1/4 teaspoon. We'll see how much lather I get from a 1/4 teaspoon. Just press it down into the bottom of my loading bowl, a lather bowl. I mean, you can, if you have another bowl that you want to use, you can press it down, and then, but you don't want to press it into your lather bowl, because at the end of the lather making process, what you want is to be able to not stop adding soap and then focus on the water that you're adding. Otherwise, soap keeps coming into the lather, and you don't want that. It'll be too rich and too dry. But if you're a face lather, then you could put the whole puck in the bottom of something like this, and then do your load, and then start with your face and lather on your face. All right, so pressed into the bottom. Let me get my face splashed here. About a 24-hour growth is what we're dealing with here. And so now here's the thing. I thought I was going to shave a little sooner than this. So this little 1305 has been soaking for a few hours prior to this. I'm trying to break it in a little quicker. All right. One nice thing about scooping, which is how I've done the soap here, is that you know how much soap you're using. If you load right from a big tub of soap, you have to count the seconds or you have to do something like that, or memorize the look of it so you know when to stop loading. But with this kind of method, you know that you've already got in your bowl all the soap you're going to need. Mystic water is famous for being a little tricky to load, but it's not if you do a couple of things. Number one, you do what I'm doing right here. You work it a while before you add water. Just the water from the bristles, which I shook out for the most part, is all that has been seen so far. Okay, now that we've worked it for a little while, I'm going to just put in half a teaspoon. Keep working it that way. With Mystic water, you can drown it quickly. You can add too much soap and then it won't work very well. Okay. But then once you get past that step, now it will resemble and act like, you know, a lot of other more standard type soaps, and there's not really any tricks to it after that. So that's really the one. And it's, the reason it's underappreciated is because the slickness is crazy good. I think it competes with the top tier myself. So we're just adding half teaspoon increments. The one gripe that I have about this brand is that I've tried a couple of their soaps that just the scent strength was pretty low. And so it's a good idea to use their sample program to test out new fragrance, new soaps, to make sure that the scent is where you like it. If you like mild soaps, then you're going to be in hog heaven here. Yeah, this is a nice little barbershop. We now have 2.5 teaspoons in it. This is a pretty comfy bore brush. With bores, you know, if you're new to shaving, you do need to soak them for a little bit before and let them absorb the water before they shave. Three teaspoons now in the lather. It's not very strong. We are getting there. Do a little finger test. There we go. I think we're there. One more rinse of water on my face. Now let's take a look at the consistency that we have here. See, and that way in a minute I'll be able to tell you whether this is too dry or too wet. I don't think it's going to be too dry. It's a gorgeous lather. A little bit of elasticity there. Yep, see, look at that. Okay. Let's just see how this works. I'm gonna get rid of any excess water on my face, just in case this is a little too wet, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna be. The tips on this brush have softened up really nice. This one never really started out prickly like the other Omega 10098 brush that I'm working with. They're both pretty young. Very comfy here. Now just spread a nice even layer around with painting strokes. Feels very good. So this is 3 teaspoons of water, 1/4 teaspoon of soap. Now here's the big question. Will this old type, this single ring, and they call it a single ring because, I believe, because this ring right up here, there's just one of them. The double ring has a second one. This little widest part right there. All right, let's see if this can handle the aging Nacet. Oh, indications are good. It's not smooth like quite as smooth as the Sheraton. I don't have a lot of slickness right now. I think my mix is a little off. Either I'm too thin or too thick. But here's the thing, great soaps usually work pretty well even if you miss them and don't hit them quite right. Like many of the razors that you might find, these are pretty inexpensive on, you know, online, eBay and stuff. This handle is split right there. It's a hairline fracture that goes maybe down to here. You can, I haven't researched the best thing. I think some people just use super glue because you could actually pull this off and it would disconnect right here. And some people use maybe super glue or something like that to glue it back together. I don't know what the choices are for people who want to do that. Since it's kind of a wet environment, I don't know if super glue is the best choice. All right, rinse. All right, pass number 2. I think I probably mixed this a little too thin, but it's still giving me a good shave. A nice slick rinse I just did. And by this time I don't really have to scrub since I've already done that on the first pass. But I'm just kind of watching the lather to see how it does. Water from my goatee is kind of dripping down. All right. Second pass. I don't know if you can see that stuttering, but that's probably means I have it a little too wet in this case. But I'm getting a nice shave. And I don't have any irritation. So it looks like maybe these old types might be good at using this Nacet. 111 uses now. How about that? And so this is obviously an open comb. You know, you can see the teeth on it. With this one, the most comfortable shave, the right angle, seems to be, as you can see, this is a pretty shallow arc. And so I'm accommodating for that. Instead of my usual angle of about maybe 30 degrees or something, I'm raising it up to maybe like 45 or 50, I would guess, since the head is setting the blade at that kind of arc. Many think that open combs are aggressive razors. And while I'm getting some blade feel, this is actually nice and smooth. And so as long as you don't use the wrong angle, this is not an aggressive feeling razor. So the scent strength on this one's unfortunately not very strong. Even when I put the bowl up, get my nose right in it, we're looking maybe a 2 out of 10, and that's not a good sign for when you're actually using the soap on your face. Let's just do that now. Lather up for this third pass and pay special attention to the scent strength. Good news is the economy, that quarter teaspoon's about right. I'm going to end up using probably almost all the soap. Come on now, I need that. So next time, I believe I have mixed this just a little thin. And so maybe I'd use just 2.5 or 2 teaspoons. Probably start with 2.5 because it's almost right. And that's why I use that medicine dropper, to be able to alter the plan for next time and know how much. Now this might actually be the perfect lather for people who just like it really wet and slick, and especially straight razor shavers. They need something more like this. Cold water today. It's winter time, so it's pretty cold. And then my water is hard. The rinses are just really slick between passes here, so you know this is a good soap. All right. So with a date of 1904, you can know that there were a lot of people who were trying this razor out who were used to straight razor shaving. And so they were used to quite a lot of blade feel. But if you use the right angle and have a good lather, this is actually a pretty smooth shaver. And there we go. yeah, above average cut already with in my trouble spot. I used a single ring the other day. This was a new one. I love this darker color. I don't know if this was brass and this is the patina over time. I don't know. I'll have to ask around. But here's how to disassemble, if you didn't notice earlier. This is a 3-piece razor because this knob will come off, and then the base plate is attached to the handle, and then here's the top cap with the blade on it. Gently pull them apart. There we go. So I really like the scent. Unfortunately, it's just not there. I mean, I'd probably give it a 2 out of 10 in terms of scent strength. So I'm glad I got this sample instead of the whole puck. Cool thing is, if you have a container already, or you want to press this into the bottom of any container that you have, it's a soft soap. It's not hard. I think the refill pucks are just $11 for 4 ounces. That's a great deal. Now here's the cool thing. Here's my Sheraton. These are more rare than the old types. Now I don't know about the single rings specifically. You know, this is a single ring, but there are lots of old types out there. A lot of times you can get them for just 15 bucks on eBay, whereas the Sheraton's more expensive. And this may be my best razor now with this blade at this age. Who'd have thunk it? All right, I got a good rinse. Let's check out the results here. Yeah, you know, I could definitely go a little further, do another neck pass right there. But I'm happy with that. I don't see any tips with significant length, so we're good. And a comfy shave, no irritation at all. Let me go down and get some balm. I've got oily skin, the Nivea Original Post-Shave Balm. Replenishing. This does not have any of the menthol stuff. I think they make a version that has menthol, and this one is kind of unique. Most lotion type balms don't have alcohol, and this one does. My oily skin likes that. No stinging at all from the alcohol. Now granted, it wasn't very much, but no stinging at all. So good technique on that shave. And this is great because it's available so many places: Walmart, Amazon, drugstores. If you can't handle the alcohol, you just get the sensitive version. You'd be good there. All right, excellent shave. Wow, let me clean up. And this is how this little guy looks after a shave, after being stropped on the towel back there. You can see more and more of the bristles are starting to come out and splay, and we're definitely seeing some tips being split. The more that happens, the softer it'll be. It's already pretty soft right now. And so this is definitely a more comfortable brush than the Omega 198 that I mentioned earlier. Kind of got both of those at the same time, and they're coming up together. It's definitely breaking in more quickly. And this is a dye right here with this brush. Semogue thinks that people like that look, and I like it okay. I could go either way. So, Mystic Water is an excellent base. Very, very good. The slickness definitely competes with anything out there. I mean, and I really mean top tier, like holy cow, Barrister and Man, Declaration Grooming, the new formulation of Noble Otter. It really can compete for those at a fraction of the price. But if you like stronger scents, it may be a little harder for you to find one that you really enjoy. So use the sample program that they have, and this is definitely not a strong scent at all. You can smell it when you're in the middle of the shave, but it's pretty faint. So I'm definitely going to put more uses on this single ring. The only piece of identifying markings on it are right above the knob here, around that kind of shiny portion here. It says PAT, you know, for patent, November, you know, NOV 1504. So I'm thinking November 15th, 1904. And it holds the blade at such an angle. Now right here is the usual, and that's going to give you a little, that might be okay if you're knocking down a bunch of days growth. But I definitely found that I needed to open the handle a little bit more to get that the edge more parallel with my skin, and give you a very comfortable shave, even and smooth, no pulling, no irritation, and a good result. Even at this age, 111 uses. So it looks like you're going to need the full 1/4 teaspoon of soap to, if you like me, and you want about 3.5 passes. And then you're going to need this much water at the maximum if you want a nice wet lather like I had, lather. But I would back it down to maybe 2.5 teaspoons, a little bit, to get a little bit more creamy. All right, well, that's it. Excellent shave. Very good results. The Semogue is breaking in very nicely. I think maybe if you're a face latherer, you need it to splay out more to be able to hold the lather needed for all 3 passes. And so maybe a face lather might not consider it broken in yet, but it just, I think 5 uses or something like that. It's 4 or 5, I think. For a bowl lather, it's great. And the cool thing is, the only thing it's lacking right now is face feel, and I want it to get a little softer. It's comfortable now. It's kind of scrubby. It's comfortable, but it'll get even nicer as the uses proceed, and those tips keep splitting. So I'm really happy with it. Very happy with it. It's not a stiff brush in terms of backbone. It is. It's more on the lighter end, and so if that's what you like, then this is an inexpensive way to get a good brush. And the single ring, you know, just did great. I think it's my new, I'm gonna try it for a while now with the, with this Nacet. I think I'll shave with it tomorrow. I've got several samples from Mystic Water, and so now I know the water to use. I'll back off a little bit, get a nice creamy, enjoyable, slick lather. Now the slickness, here's the thing, even though mine was a little wet, between passes, the rinsing just, it showed you how slick the soap is. It didn't have a thick, creamy feel, but it had a slickness to it that is just top of the class. All right. Well, hey, I hope this was helpful to you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. Good night.